In this video, we're going to be investigating content management systems, and I'm going to show you an example of a typical install. We'll be installing the most recent version of WordPress. The first thing we're going to do is open up the map start page and go to phpMyAdmin because we have to create a database before we actually install WordPress. So we'll create a database for our new WordPress install. I'll go to Databases. Under Create Database, we'll call this WP Test, and we'll create it. Then we have to go in and create a user for this. So we have to add a user, and we'll call this user Clem. And the host will be localhost. We will grant all privileges on the database and add user. Now you can see over on the left, WP Test is now created. We have added a user for a specific database, not for all of the databases, and we've given this user all privileges. So the next step will be to go to WordPress, and WordPress website has changed a little bit. They've made it a little less easy to find the download for WordPress. They want you to actually pay them to host your blog, but you can easily go to the download page of WordPress just by Googling WordPress download and click the first search result and click download WordPress 3.6 as a zip file. And it's here. We'll expand it. And it is a folder. Happens to be downloaded onto my desktop. And I've opened up htdocs, and I'm going to drop it into my htdocs for MAMP. I'm going to change this to WP Test. Now, there is a thing called the 5-minute installation, and it's recommended that you take a look at this. It's just a very, very simple step-by-step instruction of what you have to do to get going very, very quickly. So we've downloaded and unzipped the WordPress package. We've created a database, and we've created a MySQL user. And this stage, because we're using MAMP on our local host, on our own machine, we don't have to upload the WordPress files. We've just moved them into the htaccess folder. And then you run the WordPress installation script by going to the location with your browser, localhost. We'll put in WP Test. And the first thing you see, there doesn't seem to be a wp-config.php file. Don't panic. It will create this before you can actually get started in the actual install. So you just click the Create a Configuration File. It's done it. It explains what you need to do before you proceed. So we need a database name, a username, a password, a host, and a table prefix. And all of those things I have ready to go let's click Let's Go, and we'll give the database a name. We'll call it WP Test. And our username, if you recall, was Clem. And the password database host is localhost, and the table prefix is WP underscore. This is the standard table prefix. Click Submit, and it hasn't written the config.php file, but you can create it manually. For some reason it didn't create it, so we'll copy this, open up Text Wrangler, paste it in, and then we'll save it. Into WP Test, and it is called wp-config.php. Okay, little detour, sometimes it happens. Now let's run the install. Now, the username, this username is different from the database login. So this username is what you will put in order to make changes to the part of WordPress that allows you to create blog entries and make changes to themes and that kind of thing. That is a different login than the MySQL login. So this is username admin, and we'll put in a different password than the MySQL password. This is just for logging into the back end. And it's told us that it's strong. And we'll install it. And then let's log in. So this is a fully running WordPress install running off of htdocs on MAMP. And we can test the site. So this is the back end. This is what you see if you have installed it onto a server. And this is the area in which you can make add posts and change to posts. You can add images, pages. You can change the appearance. You can do basically anything by pointing and clicking, with the exception of changing particular themes. And at that point you have to actually go in and edit the CSS. It's usually editing CSS. So let's take a quick look at the site. This is the default, what you get in terms of the initial install. There is one posting that you can go in, you can delete and replace with your own. All depends on how you want to do things. So let's go back to the dashboard. If you've seen WordPress, this is all very familiar. You can customize your site by changing certain aspects. The site title, we could call this DSGN2510 instead. A demonstration. You can change the color of the text in the header, change the image within a very small range, and then you save and publish. Now this is a theme, and there are many, many themes that are available. People have created themes by editing CSS files, and you can choose different themes by using this link. There are currently 2 themes that are installed in this install, and we can look at them here under WP Content, inside Themes. There's 2013, which is the one we're currently using. It has a fonts folder with a CSS file that is for fonts. I guess these are icon fonts. The CSS, there are 2 CSS files here that you could edit if you want. There's also a 2012 theme. And all of these files can be changed. You would probably not want to change the footer or functions or header, but you could, if we went in, we wanted to change the header in Text Wrangler. If you knew what you were doing, you could make changes here. If you don't know what you're doing, you could run into some problems. If you want to change a theme to something other than 2012 and 2013, you can go to the install. You can search for themes by keyword. You can look for featured themes online. And you can see that there's a good range of choices here. Newest. Some of them are pretty awful. Some of them are okay. And you can do everything on this install that you can do on an install on a regular server. If you want to install this on a server that you have full administrator accounts, it's quite easy. I mentioned earlier that you can use a thing called Fantastico, which is in most cPanels that is an even easier way to install. It's really just one click and you put in the name and it generates the install for you quite automatically. So this is a quick overview on how to install WordPress into your htdocs in MAMP.